Shalom. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Ba'ashem HaKadosh, to honor to the apostle and Elsmere Millstone, peace, citations to the whole full elect. Shalom. And in this lesson, I'll get into the wickedness of these women and how they're traps for men. And through the spirit outside of this video, these wicked women are traps for men. And first scripture I have in mind is Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 26. It says, "And I find more bitter than death the woman," it's just saying woman in general, "whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth Yahweh shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her." Exactly. And that shows you right there that you see, the average traps for a lot of these men are pretty much women. Having the so-called white man Yasharahla going as far as liberating these women in the 1980s, pushing it towards the so-called black, and eventually along with the other 12 tribes, from the southern kingdom, and that's where it started, and went along with another kingdom too, making our women become liberated. And you going as far as giving these women benefits and welfare so they could kick the man out the house and push for single mother households. And then now these women realizing that they don't need a man in their life no more, so they go as far as doing what the hell they please, and that fits out with their spirit. But there's a scripture for that, saying that how she is dead while she liveth in pleasure. And I believe that that's in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 5, so maybe somewhere around there to that effect. But there's another verse that I want to bring out in this Ecclesiastes chapter 7. It says, verse 28, "Which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not." So this is Solomon talking about these women. And he says, "One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found." So basically he's saying that, out of having 700 wives and 300 concubines, that even having all those women in his life, he didn't see not one of them righteous. He seen that they were still full of shit, even back then. And women were in order back then, so how much more women now? And he said in verse 29, "Lo, this only have I found, that Yahweh hath made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions." And then even seeing how these women are traps, going into verse 26, I'll get out the evidence on how a lot of these women are just snares and nets, basically. How they just pretty much traps for the average man. And this article right here shows 5 consequences of not paying child support in New York. And these consequences are pretty much similar in other states as well. And it says, "The child support program in the state of New York can legally collect overdue child support arrears and obtain health insurance coverage through a variety of enforcement actions. These actions can take effect without any party having to go to court." I'm just going to share the 5 primary consequences you may face if you decide not to pay your court-ordered child support in New York. Number 1 is driver license suspension. Number 2, passport denial. Number 3, freezing of financial assets. Number 4, income tax refund intercepts, both federal and state. Number 5, lower credit ratings. So, yeah, man. That alone should show you that these women are just nothing but traps. This article shows what percentages of divorces are initiated by the wife, 2022. And it says right here, divorce statistics in the United States. It says, while the numbers have declined from the astonishing 50% mark, an estimated 41% of first marriages still end in divorce. For subsequent marriages, that number increases dramatically to 60% of second marriages and an astonished 73% of third marriages. When it comes to the cost of divorce, an uncontested divorce would run you an average of $4,100, while the total average cost of divorce is closer to $13,000. When complications arise regarding child support or child custody, that number easily swells to almost $24,000. It is important to note that these are simply averages and that there are many outliers on either side of these averages. Best way to determine a more accurate cost for your divorce is to speak with a skilled and experienced divorce attorney. And a divorce rate by gender says when it comes to men and women, there's a clear answer as to who is filing for divorce more often. Nearly 7% of women divorce. Nearly 70% of divorces are initiated by the wife. In addition, over 50% of the divorced wives never want to remarry, while only about 30% of men express that same sentiment. Seeing as most divorces are initiated by women, men can use this statistic to make sure they are being mindful of their wives' needs and wants. For both women and men, the average length of a first marriage that ends in divorce is just shy of 8 years. However, when it comes to second marriages that end in divorce, women are less likely to stick around as long as their male counterparts. When it comes to same-sex divorce, female couples make up the majority, coming in at over 70% of the same-sex divorces. So that's pretty much the end of the article right there. That's all I needed from this. And this article is failure to pay alimony in New York. And it says, how are alimony orders enforced in Western New York? In addition to filing the motion mentioned above, most jurisdictions offer several different ways to enforce alimony payments when the party ordered to make them fails to comply with the court order. Some of the most common ways include income withholding, contempt of court, and writ of execution. So yeah, that right there shows you that even when you don't pay child support or you don't pay alimony, Esau's gonna pretty much, get on your ass through his court system, because this whole system dedicates to the woman, which is complete wickedness. Let me get out Exodus chapter 21, verse 10. It says, if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty in marriage, shall he not diminish? And if he do not these three unto her, then shall she go out free without money. Exactly. And pretty much that shows you right there, this whole system that dedicates to the woman is complete just wickedness, and that's anti-Yasharahla, because there's laws in the Bible that goes into how you're supposed to deal with your woman and the things that you're supposed to provide for her. Of course, if you have a wife, you must provide, for your woman. But at the same time, it's like, in this system, they tell you that you're supposed to have only one woman, and even amongst that, you mean to tell me that the woman that you're supporting has all rights to initiate a divorce? And that's going way the hell off. Even Jeremiah 16 verse 2, and this scripture is even talking about this time, says, thou shalt not take thee a wife, neither shalt thou have sons or daughters in this place. Exactly. Because when it's coming to this place, man, this place is just wickedness. You got LGBTQ, right, sharp pushing all type of satanic vibrations in this place. And then even with the woman, he's using these female celebrities and these other entertainers to pretty much push out this whole bad bitch era, and pushing out for these women to go as far as thinking that they don't need a man, pushing out that single mother vibration. And that right there, through the music and through the films that he's out showing these people through the witchcraft of Hollywood, that's the reason why a lot of these women, they end up feeding after that BS, and they end up going as far as pushing that out in their day-to-day life, you know. In Ecclesiasticus, Book of Sirach, chapter 9, verse 1, it says, "Be not jealous over the wife of thy bosom, and teach her not an evil lesson against thyself." Exactly. And you see a lot of men, they fall into that trap. Whenever they deal with a woman, they pretty much let these women know everything about themselves and things of that nature. You know, it's not a woman's business for her to know anything about you. Just like how those red pill men would say that, oh, you have to be mysterious and try to never let her figure you out fully. Yeah, because once these women figure you out, they feel as though they have you under their fingertips. And they feel like they can control you. You know? And verse 2 says, "Give not thy soul unto a woman to set her foot upon thy substance." A lot of these men, they give these women access to do those things by going as far as writing that contract to engage in marriage with these women. You know, through Esau's system. That's why Apostle Paul said, "Seek not a wife." And Jeremiah also said the same thing as well. You know, because we're not in that time period to be dealing with women like that. This whole society in America tells you, you know, whenever you get married, that you have to go as far as, you know, signing all these documents, and then basically she goes as far as marry you in either the courtroom or in the church. And then it's like, if she wants to divorce you, she has all rights to do so. And then on top of it, she leaves with a bag, and she takes a portion of your resources. Or maybe she might even just, all in all, take everything, you know, and leave you with nothing. And because of these wicked ass women, a lot of them are the reason why, you know, men have died at their hands. You know, men are homeless on the streets. Men are just suffering, homeless, either in a shelter or in the streets, or they're in jail. You know, and a lot of men have been hospitalized because of women too. You know, dealing with these wicked ass women. I was even told by some Jake when I was out there teaching on the street in the boardwalk where I'd be doing camp with this other brother. I was told by this Jake when I asked him, I said, because he told me that he served a 5-year sentence in jail, and he pretty much also told me and that brother that I would do camp with, like, you know, about how he was in jail and things of that nature and what he went through. And I asked him one question about if there was a lot of men that told him that a lot of men went to jail because of women. He said, yeah. So he pretty much admitted that a lot of men went to jail because of women. That's what he said. So it shows you right there that a lot of men, they pretty much give their strength to women, and Proverbs 31 tells you not to do that. And it says in verse 4, "Use not much company of a woman that is a singer, lest thou be taken with her attempts." Exactly. So she seems to be like a local singer, or going as far as you know, like these female singers in the Hollywood industry. You know, you basically should avoid her at all costs. And gaze not on the maid, that thou fall not by those things that are precious in her. And give not thy soul unto harlots, that thou lose not thine inheritance. You got a lot of guys out there that spend so much money on women that are whores, because dealing with a whore is like seems to be a famous thing in Babylon. You know, aka America. They show that in the Hollywood. They show that in a lot of these films that they push out in America. You know, a lot of guys spending their money on strip clubs, or if they're going out on a date with a female, they spending all this money on her just to impress her, and a lot of times they don't even get laid. You see, men don't use their wisdom. First of all, if she wants you to spend money on her, how about you have that bitch going as far as, saying that you're her king, that you're over her, and admitting that, and she's supposed to allow you to touch her and kiss her. If she says that she's over you, if she says that you're over her, because a lot of these women, they like to play a lot of games. They only want to say they're a woman, and they only want to say they're equal when it's convenient for them. But at the same time, when they're faced with the consequences of dealing with the equality, they don't want to be treated like a man. That's when they want to be a woman, and they want to bitch out and think that a man is supposed to jump in because they're a woman. You see? And that's the thing with a lot of these women. And it says, verse 8, turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman, and look not upon another's beauty. For many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. For herewith love is kindled as a fire. Exactly. A lot of people go crazy when it's coming to love, and a lot of times that stirs up, that could stir up jealousy too. When you fall in love with someone, and then that person that you fall in love with, it happens to be a harlot, and they out there having other men in that same, category, basically. A lot of men are attracted to her. They got a lot of men texting her, and then at the same time, they over competing for this whore. And she out there, she just got options for days. And it says, sit not all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thine arms, and spend not thy money with her at the wine, lest thine heart incline unto her, and so through thy desire thou fall into destruction. Exactly. And that right there shows you, the mindset of these women. They want you to spend all your money with them, buy all these drinks for them. And it's like you still got to learn about their nature and pretty much how you're going to apply certain tricks to deal with them. Because they're out there, they know how to play with men and their money. And then they fuck around and think that, it's all just a joke to do that with men. And that's the reason why you have a thing where you have red pill enlightening men on dealing with these average women. Because when it's coming to a man has no type of knowledge, with this world on how to deal with women. The only knowledge that you have to get is from other men that's pretty much in the manosphere, And honestly, the best knowledge to get from men is honestly the men in the Lord, and that's pretty much teaching on the highways and byways, because they will teach you how to deal with women in a way. Because this world ain't gonna teach you. Your Christian pastor pork chop ain't gonna teach you, and wherever pretty much a lot of people get their knowledge from in this world, they ain't gonna teach you how to deal with women. Like you go to school or you go to any religious affiliation, they're not going to teach you how to deal with women. But one who's really going to teach you how to deal with women is really the men of the Lord, honestly. And these red pill men in the world that have awoken to, this whole matrix on dating and things of that nature. Let's start at 1 Ezra chapter 4, start at verse 20. A man leaveth his own father that brought him up, and his own country, and cleaveth unto his wife. He sticketh not to spend his life with his wife, and remembereth neither father nor mother nor country. By this also ye must know that women have dominion over you. Do ye not labor and toil, and give and bring all to the woman? Yea, a man taketh his sword and goeth his way to rob and to steal, to sail upon the sea and upon rivers, and looketh upon a lion, and goeth in the darkness, and when he hath stolen, spoiled, and robbed, he bringeth it to his love. Wherefore, if man loveth his wife better than father or mother, Yeah, yeah, there be that have run out their wits for women and become servants for their sakes. Many also have perished, have erred and sinned for women. Exactly. That shows you right there that a lot of men pretty much have went out their way to basically being destroyed, being sinful for women, and they're pretty much in that state of basically servitude for women. So a lot of times when you see a lot of these niggas out in the street doing all their wickedness, you best believe they're doing it to please and attract women. And majority of the women that they're attracting is, you could just say 99% of the times they're whores, and they already dealt with a couple of men before, these niggas out there dealing with those women. And even when they die or they go to jail, you think she's gonna wait on him or vow to live the rest of her life not having sex anymore? Hell, damn, fucking no. She's gonna go out there and be a hoe and find the next victim. Scriptures talk about how the adulterers seek it and hunt for the precious life. That's exactly what they do. Matter of fact, before I bring that one out, I'm gonna have another precept before I. And it says Proverbs chapter 2. This is also going into not only false philosophies, but it can also go with the wicked woman as well. Because a strange woman does deal with false philosophies, but it's twofold. So it says in Proverbs chapter 2, verse 16, it says, to deliver thee from the strange woman, even from the stranger with flattering with her words, which forsaketh the God of her youth, and forgetteth the covenant of her God. For her house inclineth unto death, and her paths unto the dead. None that go unto her return again, neither take they hold of the paths of life. Exactly. So, you following after the wicked woman, her ways are of death. Because you think she's going to really want to submit to the ways of the Most High, which the role of a woman is supposed to cook and clean and be submissive and a servant to her man, and is supposed to put her man above her, and her man is supposed to be her head, and she's supposed to be a housewife to her man. You think these Americanized women will ever take that role of doing that? Hell no. If their life really depended on it, a lot of them will fail. Because a lot of them were so accustomed by Yasharah's system to basically go as far as being in college, And in one of those articles, it did say that most of the marriages that are initiated by divorce are from college women, showing that when these women get indoctrinated into higher education, being further beguiled by the serpent, they go as far as feeling as though they don't really need a man because they're already in a higher position in life, because once they have a degree, now they're able to be accepted, by a company that's going to pay them a lot of money. Let me get out that other precept that I promised to get out now. So, it says, Proverbs chapter 6, we'll start at verse 24, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman a man is brought a piece of bread, and that the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Exactly. And that's a beautiful scripture right there, man, because that's exactly what these hoes do. They seek to be pleasurable, they seek to be sweet, and they have evil intentions. That's why Ecclesiastes 7 is written, and it says that how Solomon says he finds more bitter than death, showing you that even just dying is better than suffering at the hands of a wicked woman. He finds more bitter than death the woman whose hands are snares and nets, trying to find a way to trap a man. And that's what a lot of these women do. They use their bodies to trap men. And then you won't think nothing like it because of how she first acts, thinking that she's nice and submissive at one point. See, these women are full of tricks. Scripture said that for some have turned aside to Satan. That's what these women are. They're nothing but pawns for the so-called white man, which is Esau. So they're following after the ways of their master, which is Yasharahla. And I'll make this be the last precept that I'll bring out. It says, Book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 13. Give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. Right. And any affliction but the affliction from them that hate, and any revenge but the revenge of enemies. There is no head above the head of a serpent, and there is no wrath above the wrath of an enemy. Exactly. And then when it's coming to the serpent, that's Yasharahla, so-called white man. He was that serpent that was more subtle than any beast of the field. That's why he would go out Eve in the garden, teaching Eve that she don't have to listen to her man, that she could be like the gods, knowing good and evil, following after the ways of the heathen, basically taking on that feminism. And that's what she did in the Garden of Eden. And then Adam was hearkening to his wife, and that's how he fell. That's why it tells you here that in verse 20, verse 24, of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Exactly. Because it all started with Eve. That's how Adam fell. And, the serpent being the top head, he uses these women, Esau, that's Esau right there, using these women, Eve, and the Warga, he goes as far as using these wicked-ass women to oppress the man. And then what the woman does as well is she uses children as pawns in the game. And that's why when you see Isaiah, the 3rd chapter, I believe in verse 4, it tells you how children are the oppressors and women rule over them. And children is mentioning about Esau, because he's the children of fools in Job, the 30th chapter. And in a sense, it could also apply to, the children of the mother as well. Because the children are also pawns in the game, and the mother has a way of making the children go against the father when the father didn't do nothing crazy. And the father has to go through a whole series of trying to prove that he's innocent. And people usually find that out too late. And in verse 14, having affliction from them that hate you and the revenge of enemies. And how there's, in verse 15, how there's no wrath above the wrath of enemy. You see, when it comes to majority of these women, they hate us, especially men of the Lord that's teaching this truth. Men that walk into the game, to the BS that they be doing. And they also hate any man that's following after the red pill, basically. See, when it comes to our women, they hate us because, according to Deuteronomy 28, that's the curses. And another good precept that I like to bring out as well from the Book of Sirach, chapter 25, is actually in 26 is verse 23. It says, "A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord." Exactly. So, as the scriptures go on to say that how you should not envy the life of a sinner because you will know his end. Exactly. So, don't be envious of how a lot of these niggas in the world, how they have all these good-looking girls and things of that nature. Because in the end of the day, the Most High is not dealing with them. See, when the Most High gives you understanding of this truth, he's really dealing with you. Especially you being sincere in this thing and watching the videos consistently, taking notes. The Most High is really dealing with you. And honestly, for brothers that he's really dealing with, just imagine the blessing that he's going to give in these end times, because it's going to come to a point in time where these women are going to pretty much where they're going to humble down. And that's mostly going to happen in Jacob's trouble. But as for right now, your best woman is pretty much wisdom. Because these women nowadays, men trying to think that the best thing they need to do in their life is get a woman. And that's not the best thing, especially in America. The best thing to do is get wisdom, because wisdom is a woman. Solomon referred to wisdom as Sophia. You know? So yeah, with that, our may lesson edifying. And let's give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, Bashem, Hakadash. The honors of the apostles and elders, great millstone, peace, I teach, and hope for elect. Shalom.